has the accuracy, and it is good. Jake Bates throwing right side, and it's going to be intercepted. Return past the 15, past the 20, out past the 30. Has space down the sideline. 40, 35, 30. And he is gone. A pick six for Houston. Snap good, hold good, kick up. And it is straight down the middle. Looking to throw, rolls out right. Throws end zone. Touchdown San Antonio. Cody Latimer alone in the end zone. They take a 1-point lead with 3 seconds left. 52-yarder, left hash for the win. Snap good, hold good, kick up, and it's drilled. Miami escapes week 1 with the win. Jason Sanders is looking to throw. Pass right side, wide open. Touchdown Drake London. Touchdown Drake London. Atlanta has tied this game and are an extra point away from taking the lead. Needing the 12-yard line. Handoff, Robinson left side. And going to be stuffed. A loss of 4, maybe 5 on the play. And with 50 seconds to go, the Chiefs have the ball. And most likely that does it. Ball on the 17.5-yard line. Looking to throw. Stepping up, throwing for the end zone. And caught. Touchdown Green Bay. Dontavian Wicks. 56 seconds to play. The Packers are within 3. 6:17 to play in overtime. Tua shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the right, bunched up. Tua to throw. Pass time. Plenty of time. Pass. End zone, left side. Jonnu Smith. Touchdown Miami. They're gonna win. Let's go, baby. Here, back behind him. 3 receiving options to the left. Gonna send Smith in motion. Toss left side for Saquon Barkley. Good blocking and room to run. Past midfield. Spinning his way. Pass the 35 to 30. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, and the Eagles respond instantly. Saquon Barkley. Oh my. Making his presence felt. 1 play, 60 yards. 3rd and 9 from the 35. Mahomes looking to throw. Quick pass left side. Caught by Piron. Has room to run. First down and more. Down to about the 17. And he stays in bounds. That will do it. The Kansas City Chiefs have escaped the Bills and have punched their ticket. Hello. And welcome. We continue the coverage of Week 8 of the UFL with a potential UFL Championship preview as the Birmingham Stallions and the St. Louis Battlehawks are set to face off in St. Louis in a mere matter of moments. This should be a fantastic game. The majority of the nation is getting this one on the regional broadcast side of things. Obviously, the people in Texas and in the Michigan region are getting the Panthers and Roughnecks. But for the majority of everyone else, it is the Stallions and the Battlehawks. Going to be an interesting one as the Stallions are set to start their 4th different quarterback this season. Jamar Smith is listed as the starter for this week. Going to be going against Max Duggan and the St. Louis Battlehawks team that has been electric this season. Their 2 losses were really losses that you can really point to one specific moment in said games. And for the most part, though, they've been playing really solid, been playing their brand of football. Again, Birmingham, though, they've been battling through a ton of adversity this season, a ton of QB injuries. And they have quite a few more injuries to deal with and inactives to battle through in this one. Going to be without Amari Rodgers in this game for the receiving option. Going to be without Larry Roundtree once again. He's back in. He's going to be inactive again. Meaning it's going to be up to CJ Marable and Ricky Person to be the main 2 running backs, which is still a very solid 2 running back team up to rely on. But from the Gateway City, the Arch looking beautiful on this fine Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. It's a 1 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday for the UFL Championship preview. This game going to be electric. As the Battlehawks take the field, the Stallions take the field. We're awaiting the opening kick in this one. How is everyone doing on this fine Saturday? So Birmingham can clinch today if they win or Michigan wins, they clinch. Meaning that as long as Michigan wins, we have our USFL Conference Championship game. St. Louis, in order to clinch, they'll need to win and Arlington to lose. So they have a little bit more at stake in this one. But nonetheless, this should be a fantastic one today. Jamar Smith getting the start. Played with Birmingham years ago, had a pretty solid show in the tail end of last week. And Case Cook is still dealing with that injury he suffered last week alongside Andrew Peasley, who's also been dealing with an injury. Jamar Smith is currently the only healthy quarterback on this Birmingham roster. Gonna be interesting to want to see how he plays. Max Duggan getting the start once again. He's been pretty solid since stepping in for Mandy Wilkins, who went down earlier on in this season. So this should be a game to watch today. We shall see. Again, we just wait for the opening kickoff from this one. We're at a commercial break. Just wait for the opening kick now in this one. And this should be fun. Last night's game between Memphis and San Antonio was a fun one. That went to overtime, the second overtime game in UFL history. And again, Memphis now 2-6 on the year, a little something to hold on to, having 2 overtime wins. But man, oh man, yesterday was something. Again, for those who missed, the Memphis San Antonio game was solid, but we also reacted to 3 games last night, as Game 6 between the Panthers and Leafs and the Knicks and Celtics also started at 8 o'clock last night. So those were also games I had on in the background and watched. Nothing of the nature in this one. It's 1 p.m. kick. Although there is some playoffs tonight for both of those leagues, but they start later. At least the NHL has one. Yeah, this should be good. This should be good. You shall see. We shall see. All right, St. Louis and Birmingham. The championship game a lot of people were expecting to get last year in the UFL. Chance to get it this year, though. Again, Birmingham has been looking the most vulnerable, the most weak. This is the weakest Birmingham has been in quite a while. Meanwhile, St. Louis and DC are looking like they're gonna sooner kill each other than one of them escaping the XFL conference. They play both week 10 and most likely in the XFL conference championship. The Stallions will get the ball first in this one. We get to see Jamar Smith and this Birmingham offense first. Nearly said Jamar Chase there. But this should be a good one. This should be a good one. First start for Jamar Smith since April 15th, 2023. He is a 2-time USFL champion. Both obviously with the Stallions, but this should be fun. I'm curious what their game plan is going to be for this game, just because of again being on their 6th different quarterback, their 4th different starter. Again, the Stallions are looking a hell of a lot like Cleveland this year. We'll see. Skip Holtz and Anthony Beck. That is a hell of a coaching matchup. When these two teams played last year, it came down to the wire in a thriller in Birmingham. It also was some very tough, also with some very rainy weather last year. But this year, it's in the Dome at America Center, as there's Rodrigo Blankenship ready to send this one down. As he's looking, he's eyeing the NFL now at this point. But the kickoff is underway, going to be returned beginning from about the 2-yard line and working his way past the 20 and going to be breaking some tackles, spinning his way to about the 26. That is Marlon Williams on the return. And out comes this Stallions offense for the first time today. I want to say there's a lot of pressure on Jamar Smith, but this is a Stallions team that could really use a win this week, and kind of a decisive one at that. We shall see. Smith in shotgun, a back to each side, ball on the 26. First play of the game is going to be a handoff left side for CJ Marable that will gain about 3 up to the 29. It's interesting that they say both Sternberger and Deion Kane are players to watch for the Stallions. I'm more interested in how CJ Marable and Ricky Person play today. And if Birmingham can control time of possession a bit. Smith in shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Going to hand this off once again up the middle for Marable. And that is a gain of 3 once again. Up to the 32. So an early third down here coming up. The Stallions are starting Jamar Smith at quarterback today. He played for the Stallions in the USFL days a few years back. It's his first start in about a little over 2 years. And there's no better test for a first time for a new starting quarterback for a team than inside the Dome. As Smith is alone in shotgun, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Ball on about the 32 will look to throw. Pressure coming, pass over the middle is incomplete. Looking to get one in there to Davion Davis with some great coverage. Forces the ball loose, and it's a 3 and out on the opening drive for the Stallions. I don't hate that throw. Like it gets there. It's on target, but just really good coverage there by Lucas Dennis. And that ball comes loose, and out comes the punting unit. Yeah, exactly. The savvy vet. Again, I've made a lot of similarities to this year's Stallions team to 2023's Cleveland Browns team. In large part because of the amount of different quarterbacks that they've played, as this punt comes off clean and will bounce into the end zone for a touchback. And now we have that, like it's tail end of the season. They're trying to get into the playoffs and trying to make a run. They turn to the savvy vet, similar to how the Browns did with Joe Flacco in that season. We'll see if it pays off. But again, this St. Louis team is not going to be an easy one. We're making your first start in 2 years with. Yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup for him. But this Birmingham defense also has their hands tied. The St. Louis offense has been really good this season, especially on the ground. We'll see if they keep that approach in this one, as Duggan is in shotgun. Back to his left, 2 receiving options to each side. Ball on their own 25 to begin this drive. Duggan going to look to throw. Pressure coming, going to step up, has some time. Launcher one deep, over the middle, has a man. It's Jahcour Pearson, and incomplete. Ever so slightly underthrown. Allows for the defender to get a hand on that ball and force it loose. That's Madre Harper making a play, but he got beat. Oh, he got beat. That's so ever so slightly behind. If that's throw a yard more down the field, that's 6. That's a tough one to miss. Duggan in shotgun, back behind them, going to hand this off to Jacob Sailors up the middle, and that's a gain of roughly 6 to make it the 3rd and 4. That was a great play call on first down. That's when you need to get. Oh yeah, that's true. Uh, what? I don't know. I don't know. My plans after this game is kind of booked. I'm gonna be heading over towards more so out east down here in Florida, so gonna be fun. Pass right side on 3rd and 4 is incomplete through the hands of, I believe that's Frank Darby. Yep, would have been enough for the first down in the gain of 5. Instead, it's a 3 and out for the Battlehawks. But yeah, I mean, if I have time for any other game to watch today, it'll probably be the Stars Jets game 6. But I think the plan is the only sporting event I watch today. Depending on time and everything when I get back. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from about the 24 for Davion Davis. Has some room and gets up to about the 34. The Stallions will begin from there. Yeah. I mean, again, I watched 3 games last night during that live stream, so I'm kind of in a weird spot with wanting to watch more sports. As we're heading into a commercial break before the Stallions' second drive. It's like typically when I have like the quad box on and everything during the NBA and NHL playoffs, I'm not like fully paying attention to it, or at least pay attention to all the games on there. But I mean, it's a regional broadcast, so I'm not getting. There's no way for me to watch Michigan and Houston, which I'm fine with. I mean, that's gonna be a solid game as well. But I'm happy. I'm happy I'm getting this one. Speaking of, yeah, that game's at 0-0 right now with 9 minutes to play. Yeah, because that game also has started recently. Wait, is no shot. I don't understand. Okay, I'm really happy I did not get Michigan and Houston now. Why is Danny Etling getting the start today for Michigan? The roster sheet shows Bryce Perkins. Why is Danny Etling getting the start today? I'm sorry, what? We still like commercial break here. I need to see this. Hold on. Bryce Perkins was a late scratch due to an ankle injury. I'm sorry. How did that go undetected until 5 minutes before kickoff? Again, on the official, I mean, it was a game time decision, obviously, because on the official roster sheet, Bryce Perkins is still listed as the starter. Damn. Okay, that's insane. Okay. Anyway, just going back from commercial break. I guess now the Stallions have even more pressure on themselves to win today because I'm not sure if Houston's going to lose to Danny Etling. Yeah, you're supposed to, but the difference is there's not a lot of there's not like a specific easy way to find the injury reports. As Jamar Smith gonna play action, look to throw, passing right side, has a man, gonna be caught, and nothing but green grass ahead is Deon Kane. The Stallions get on the board first, 1 play, they get 6. It'll be again, that's an insane way to start that drive. But again, real quick, the difference between the NFL and the UFL in terms of the injury reports, yes, both leagues do have standard injury reports that they post out. But the difference is, one, the teams don't post the injury reports in the UFL the same way that the NFL teams do at the end of the week for practice. And two, there's not nearly as many reporters and like insiders for the UFL as the NFL. So it's a lot easier for stuff to get out in the NFL. As the Stallions will go for two here. Jamar Smith with some time going to step up and keep it himself. Going and going to try and stretch forward. I think he was down short before the ball came loose. Yeah, it's only a 6-point Stallions lead, but still a hell of a way to start that second drive. One play goes for 6. Deon Kane blowing past Chris Payton Jones. And the Stallions take the early lead. Yeah, I mean, that's just... yeah, game time decision. So I don't think Bryce Perkins is out. I just think he's like, they're being cautious with him. Because he's definitely dressed. I don't think he's inactive. So he might be like QB3 on the depth chart actually then. It's Danny Edling and Rocky Lombardi for the Panthers today. That's insane. All right, we're at commercial break after the massive one-play touchdown for the Stallions. And I'm just still over here like, what's going on with the Panthers now? Yeah, the Panthers pretty much do. If they, I mean, all they needed was a win today. I think it's either a win or a Stallions loss gets the Panthers in the same way that a win or a Houston loss gets the Stallions in. So essentially, if like we can have the playoffs fully clinched today or tomorrow, but this week. Because if St. Louis wins, if St. Louis, Michigan, and DC win, we have the playoffs locked up for the final 2 weeks. Because a Michigan win gets both Michigan and Birmingham in. And then St. Louis needs a win and a DC win as well. And DC just needs to win. So we'll see. Yeah, that's... yeah, Houston currently is up 3-0 with 7.5 to play in that first quarter. As we're just coming back from commercial break in this one. Yeah, week 10. Yeah, week 10 will be back-to-back for St. Louis again. But the difference will be it's not back-to-back home games for St. Louis that week. It will be because Audi Field, yeah, Audi Field is not able to be used for the playoffs. So it'll be week 10 in DC, week 11 in St. Louis, or the playoffs in St. Louis. Same thing with Ford Field. So the Birmingham pretty much has the home field locked up. Kickoff underway, going to be return beginning from inside the 5 as the St. Louis Battlehawks now look to respond as that ball might have came loose. If so, it's picked up by the Stallions, I believe. This will be a disaster. There is also a penalty marker down, but yeah, this would be Birmingham ball if it is ruled a fumble. We'll see if he was down before, and we'll see what the penalty is. But as it sits, it is Birmingham football after the fumble on the kick return. Refs trying to break up the pile here as both players are still fighting for this ball. Actually, no, I think it's on the chest of, yeah, it's more so on the chest of the Battlehawk. And that was Gary Jennings on the return there for St. Louis. They're still trying to work out this pile. But both players are still fighting for this football. What the hell? All right, there we go. This season was, first off, was he down before that ball came loose? Oh no, that's a fumble. What a peanut punch. That ball's loose. Oh my, that's a beaut. That's a beaut of a peanut punch. Who? Mario Goodrich. What a peanut punch to force that ball loose. Because fuck Boston. And when I say that, I mean Boston sports. I do like, but the city of Boston is beautiful. I was there last week. It was great. But no, yeah, Boston sports. No, fuck them. Yeah, it'll be Birmingham's ball. Penalty was against St. Louis, and now the Stallions with a great opportunity here. Ball on the plus 36. Smith gonna hand this off up the middle to Ricky Person for a gain of roughly 6. Yeah, you never know when Tillman will make an appearance. But when he does, it's beautiful. Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting UFO championship. I definitely do think Michigan exits out the USFL conference just because again, I don't have faith in Birmingham right now. At least at this point I don't. Come week 10 in the playoffs, it might be a different story, but we'll see. Smith looking to throw, has some time, throwing deep, right side is well off the mark and incomplete. Overthrew Sternberger by about 10 yards, looking for that slot fade. Instead, it's 3rd and 3. I think the XFL Conference Championship is going to be a fantastic game to watch. If it is St. Louis, DC, if it's Arlington and one of the other two, like it's going to be a great matchup. Especially if it is St. Louis, DC, having that Week 10 game leading into it as well. Oh, it's going to be great. Smith and shotgun back to his right, going to keeping himself up the middle on a read option. Now we get exactly the 3 yards needed for a first down. Wait, that's not a great spot though. Hold on, that line judge is not. It's gonna be 4th and inches, but yeah, that's not a great spot. Oh yeah, they're gonna say 4th and 1, 4th and inches here. And they're sending out the field goal unit? Okay. So a 44-yard kick for Harrison Mevis from the left hash. To make this a 9-point game early on in the first quarter, was just crossed the 9-minute mark. Kick is up, and it is good. I suppose never change the possession, that's fine. No, I don't want to imagine that Cup Finals. I would much rather it be Dallas and Carolina, if it's not the Panthers in it. I would much rather it be Dallas and Carolina. Or Dallas, Toronto, I guess. I just don't want Toronto to win the Cup. But game 7's tomorrow night. The Panthers still very much are in this. Yes, we hate it on Canada. And also, it's funny the fact that hockey is their sport and they haven't won a cup in 34 years. I want to make it 35. Again, it's more so the case of we hate on Canada sports, not Canada itself. Again, beautiful. Canada itself is beautiful, but their sports teams, yeah, it's funny to hate.
And mainly because like I can't. There's no other reason. There's no other way for me to like hate on Canada sports. I like the CFL. It's fun to watch. The Raptors and Blue Jays. I don't care about the Blue Jays, and the Raptors are kind of mid. They got their chip in 2019, so I'm chill with it. I mean, again, Toronto sold their future to get that ring in 2019, so it's worth it. Yes, you guys are probably hoping for a little more success by this point, but Flesh, Noxie knows how much I shit on Canada sports. You don't need. Hello. We're at a commercial break in this one. St. Louis about to get the ball back down by 9. Fumbled on the kickoff after a Birmingham 65-yard touchdown. They fumbled on the kickoff, and then it held them to a 3-and-out and a field goal try. Yeah, it is, especially because she doesn't care about sports. Look, during that Toronto Ottawa series, it was funny. I don't necessarily have a favorite UFL team, but if I have to pick one, it would either be St. Louis or Michigan. But my favorite spring football team did not make it. Did not make it to the merger. I was a Guardians fan, both New York and Orlando, and they got left behind when the XFL and USFL merged. So I'm kind of just a third party neutral observer in all this, and it's fun. And yes, best of prayers and wishes go out to the people of St. Louis. They had a bad tornado go through yesterday. It was about like an hour or so outside of downtown where the dome is. So best of prayers go out to all of them and to the city as a whole. And hopefully the Battlehawks can get a win for them today. We'll see. Down by 9, still a one possession game in the UFL. As kickoff is underway, going to be downed in the end zone for a touchback. They'll begin this drive from the 35, I believe. That's been the first time in a while since I've seen that kind of touchback. As it is the second drive for the Battlehawks now. What would have been the second negated due to a fumble on the kickoff. Now it is their proper second. Yeah, I saw a map image of where it went through, but I don't remember exactly the town name and all that. So yeah, St. Peter's. Okay. Yeah, best of wishes go out to all everyone out there. As Duggan in shotgun back to his left, 3 receiving options to the right as well. Ball on the 35-yard line. Duggan will look to throw. Pass right side wide open is caught for a first down and then some. A gain of roughly 13 for Jake Sutherland. And that's how you start a drive right there for the Battlehawks. Damn, that Michigan-Houston game is going by quick. There's like 3 minutes left in the first. While we still have 8.5 to play in the first in this one. The ball now near midfield at the 48. Duggan in shotgun once again, back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left as well. 8:20 to play in the first quarter. Going to hand this off to Jacob Saylor's right side, who's going to get to about midfield before being brought down. Gain of 2.5-ish. Okay, this has been a solid drive that Michigan is building. So, second and about 7.5, 8 coming up. You're going to say second and 7. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. 3 receiving options to the left as well. Play action looking to throw. Pressure coming off that left side. Duggan throwing right side and going to be incomplete with a penalty marker down. Looking for Jodcore Pearson. The Birmingham defender gets an arm around him. That's going to be DPI. Daniel Isom called for the DPI. And will keep the chains moving. A first down for the Battlehawks. Yeah. It's more so it there, yeah. Makes contact early. Doesn't let him flatten out that route. I mean, there's the question of is that is catchable, but hey, there's someone with a Joe Burrow's jersey in the stands. Hell yeah. Duggan in shotgun, back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. Ball on about the 35. Pressure coming. Duggan throwing left side off the mark and incomplete. Looking for Jacob Sailors in the flat. Pressure forces a high and overthrown pass. Now 2nd and 10 coming up. Yeah, Sailors is open. It's not a bad read, but just pressure's there. Yeah, that was a dangerous throw, though. Lucky that it fell to the ground, but you need to get it out there towards Sailors. Duggan in shotgun, back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side, and they're going to get a high snap. His ball is loose. Duggan picks it up and rolls left, and just going to throw it away incomplete with a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. Back-to-back disaster plays for St. Louis that easily could have gone the other way. Oh, it's offsides on Birmingham, so going to be a 2nd and 5 coming up. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that it's like third, probably like fifth row deep in that lower bowl. On that, we had the St. Louis sideline. You just see a Joe Burrow jersey. I mean, I mean, yeah, you get the free play, but you have to burn it. Basically, it sucks. Duggan in shotgun, back to his right, gonna look to throw once again on 2nd and 5. Has time deep, left side for the end zone and incomplete. Going for it all, looking for Gary Jennings. He jumped well too soon there, and the ball is technically overthrown and incomplete. I think if he times his jump better, it might be. And I timed it okay. Yeah, but that should have been back shoulder front pylon. He has room down that sideline. Through his hands. Oh, that's through his hands and skimmed his helmet. That's a tough one to miss. Duggan alone in shotgun, looking to throw on 3rd and 5. Has some time, gonna step to his left to avoid some pressure, and now just gonna slide down for a loss of 1. With a penalty marker down once again. So what's the penalty? It will be a 4th and 6, dependent on the penalty. We'll see. Illegal contact on Birmingham. It'd be an automatic 1st down. Drive stays alive. They're calling it on A.J. Thomas, who was, he was guarding Hakeem Butler. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I could see it. I could definitely see that. So drive stays alive. And now 1st and 10 from the 25. Duggan in shotgun, back to his right. Gonna hand this off to Jacob Sailors up the middle. Gonna find some room and pinball his way for a gain of 9 up to the 16-yard line. The Battlehawks have entered the red zone for the first time today. I mean, a good contact balance by Jacob Sailors there. A lot of chaos going on in the middle of the field, and he just finds a way to stay on his feet and get the 9. Duggan in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Going to hand this off to Sailors once again, and that's a 1st down carry and then some, up to about the 11, a gain of 5, and a 1st down for the Battlehawks. All right, 1st and 10. What you get? 4.5 to play in the 1st quarter. Is like gotta have a type of drive now at this point. Duggan and shotgun back behind him. Touch pass. Left side has some room. That's Blake Jackson for a gain of about 2, maybe 3. Alright. I don't love that play call there. I don't hate it either. I mean, it gets you 2 yards at the very least, so it's something. Oh, Michigan gets on the board before the end of the first quarter. It's 7-3 now for the Panthers. Duggan alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. We're going to be a QB power right side. Has the blockers. Duggan pylon and touchdown St. Louis. Hey, that's a nice play call there. Good blocking on that right side, able to just get to that front pylon. And the Battlehawks have cut it to a 3-point game. Some great blocking. Jahcour Pearson sets the edge. And Duggan does the rest. Yeah, there's a good chance as well. And also, again, with all the rumors that Cincy might be moving to St. Louis, I doubt they're true, but it would be funny. Because we have a stoppage before the conversion try. We're having the Birmingham challenge. Yeah, Birmingham's going to challenge, saying that there was holding on the play. Saying that the left tackle held. That camera angle that wouldn't show it. There we go. So they challenged that it was hands to the face on St. Louis, and they're gonna win this challenge. The points get off the board. As Jared Jones-Smith with one hand, I want to say rips, but knocks that helmet clean off of the Birmingham defender. So Birmingham will win the challenge. This goes back to a 9-0 game and a 2nd and 12 coming up, I believe. So they win the challenge, get their challenge back. And with 3:48 to play in the first quarter, it's back to being 9-0. I mean, I don't want the Bengals to relocate. I think they're fit perfectly in Cincy. But you got to figure out that stadium there. That stadium lease is running up soon. You got to figure that out. And we know how hungry St. Louis is for a team. I'm sure the NFL is watching every St. Louis game at home. The Battlehawks are just like, damn, like these fans definitely do deserve something. I doubt they're getting anything soon, but we'll see. Would it really be a better solution? I mean, it's weird. Duggan alone in shotgun, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, ball on the 13-yard line, going to keep it himself up the middle for a QB draw, and Duggan's going to get in anyway. Touchdown St. Louis, 13 yards out, Max Duggan using his legs. We're right back to a 9-6 game. All it took was one play after the penalty, and St. Louis still gets on the board. The entire middle of the field left wide open for Duggan. And that's how you get on the board. So a QB power was called before Was QB power was called from 7 yards out. It worked. And then a penalty was called after the challenge. And from 13 yards out, Max Duggan takes it himself. Once again on a QB draw. Duggan in shotgun back to his left, gonna hand this off up the middle. And that's Jacob Sailors for the 1-point try. I think he'll be marked short. As there's some pushing and shoving going on post play, but yep, gonna be marked just short of the goal line, so it remains a 9-6 game. Weirdly enough, that with that whole like Cincy Stadium debacle, for as much as I don't like college teams sharing a stadium with the NFL, I would much rather see the Bengals spend a season or two at the Horseshoe in Columbus than just straight up move into St. Louis. I mean, yeah, like obviously the dome would need to improve if the Bengals move there, but I would rather St. Louis get an expansion team than the Bengals move. If you're gonna hold Paycor and the city hostage, just play in Columbus for like a season or two. Yes, it's disgusting, but it's better than. But I want to keep the Bengals in Cincy or in Ohio. Hell, it will look terrible on the broadcast. Put them in the Bearcat Stadium over at the University of Cincinnati. It won't look good in the NFL broadcast, but it's something. If a team should relocate to St. Louis, it should not be Cincinnati. If anything, I would rather Cleveland move, but they already have a new stadium plan in place. Jacksonville ain't gonna go anywhere despite the amount of times people have been saying that they should. Definitely, I'm not denying that. I just think that the Bengals belong in Cincinnati and shouldn't move elsewhere. Now, of course, if you want them to play in St. Louis as like a temporary location, I'm fine with that, but they shouldn't be a mainstay there. It should be their own team or a different team relocated that might have like lost their area. Or like a team looking for a fresh start, like Cleveland. But there's no way the Browns are leaving again. I am full in agreement with you on that. I the other night I went to a seafood place that also like serves barbecue. Their barbecue sauce was some of the worst barbecue sauce I've ever had. Like I don't know what I should have expected, but I definitely was not expecting that. We're just coming back from commercial break. St. Louis responded well to both the touchdown and then the following field goal on the fumble that they had on the kickoff. It's a 9-6 game with about 3:40 to play in the first quarter. Okay, but I've been to seafood places that can make that have okay that pretty much just use Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, and I'm so fine with that. Yeah, it was fine. I also tried a fried gator while there. Most confusing meal I've had. But like their barbecue sauce was like a mix of cocktail sauce, barbecue sauce, and tartar sauce. It was weird. It was bad but weird. Kickoff's gonna be returned up to about the 35. Believe so. But yeah, it was solid, the fried gator, but Probably won't have it again. Unless like the only thing on the table. Smith and shotgun back behind him, as well as a back lined up to his right. Going to muff the exchange and fall back on it for a loss of about 4 or 5. Seemed like they was trying a triple option there, and the exchange with CJ Marable didn't go well. Yeah, it was included. But yeah, it's like I took the bite of the gator and I'm like, okay, this tastes like chicken. And then halfway through, before I swallowed, it was like, okay, now this is like steak. What am I? Smith and shotgun back to his left on 2nd and 13 will look to throw, and there is a penalty pre-snap. Oh, that's interesting. The penalty is false start on Birmingham. Will push him back 5 once again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was solid. It was better. It was so much better than the ribs. I would say that. But yeah, so it's still one of those like entrees where I'm like, or appetizers where I'm like, this is a novelty thing. I'll have like what every once in a while. Smith and shotgun back to his left on second and 18. Will look to throw. Pressure coming and stepping to his left before shovel pass in to CJ Marable to get those 5 yards right back from the false start. It is a 3rd and 13 coming up with under 2.5 to play in the first quarter. Yeah, 3rd and 13. See, the Michigan-Houston game should be honestly entering the second quarter by now. Oh, yeah? I'm definitely interested in trying it again whenever I go to the New Orleans area. Smith looking to throw in 3rd and 13. Pressure coming, gonna try and step and avoid it, but will just be brought down and sacked. Back at the 25, and ball comes loose. It's picked up by St. Louis, but I think they're ruling down by contact. Either way, it's a 3 and out for Birmingham. It will be St. Louis ball. But does this come loose before? No, he's down. Bad. Yeah, I'm not sure when I'll make my way out towards that way. But again, I definitely plan at some point to visit New Orleans and go to a Saints game. So a 4th and 20, ball gonna be sent down. Hunt nearly gets blocked, but comes off clean. Gonna be returned beginning from about the 33, and that's Jockor Pearson up past the 40 to the 41. With a penalty marker down, just under a minute to play in the first quarter. There's like a few things that I plan to get while going to all the different stadiums. That's something I want to do. Holding on St. Louis is called during the return. To still be their ball, but pushing back a bit to start this drive. I mean, we've talked about it before, Ball Flash. I do want to try Skyline Chili while in Cincy. Whenever I make my way out towards that way. Obviously, I'm waiting to try like a proper Philly cheesesteak. Yeah. Food tells it all when it comes to certain cities and certain places. That's honestly part of the reason why I didn't really like when I went to Paris a few years back. They did not have a lot of good food spots. Okay, bad. But yeah, I'll definitely hit the spots whenever I go to any given city. Obviously, assuming I have the proper time to do it. As we're at commercial break with about a minute to play in the first quarter. We shall see. St. Louis is in a good spot now at this point. They're digging. Their defense has been playing well. Just the offense needs to get a little. Offense needs to build off of that last drive, and they have a chance to here. And we're just coming back from commercial break. A minute to play. There's the touchdown to show in for Michigan. Malik Turner open in the middle of the end zone for a 5-yard touchdown. Oh, it's a 14-3 Panthers lead now. They're playing just fine. Yeah, 56 seconds to play in the first quarter here between Birmingham and St. Louis. As Duggan will look to throw, pass left side, caught by Pearson in the flat, and will lose about 2, maybe 3 on the play. Skyline is sweet compared to Gold Star. Okay. I think that could work, though. Okay, I would definitely need to try both when I go. So, where Skyline is sweet, is Gold Star more... I want to say spicy, but... yeah, I guess spicy would work. Duggan alone in shotgun, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, ball on their own 23-yard line. Duggan looking to throw once again, pressure coming, avoiding it to his right. Still buying some time, avoiding sacks along the way, eventually going to keep it himself and trip forward for about 3. Duggan wanted a penalty there because someone may have clipped his face mask, but no penalty markers down, and that's the end of the first quarter. Traditional chili flavoring. Okay. Yeah. End of the first quarter, 15 minutes in the books. It's a 9-6 Birmingham lead, and a third down coming up for St. Louis. Okay, I think either way, that's interesting. If it's nutmeg or cinnamon, I wouldn't know the difference when I go try it. But yeah, I like the idea of that. Direct commercial break in this one. Oh, the second touchdown for Michigan was Samson Nakua. So Danny Edling, 2 touchdown passes today. Okay. I mean, I guess when you hear yeah, I guess when you see what that is, yeah, you wouldn't expect chili to be sweet. I mean, I guess in some parts they might make chili a little sweeter in some states. I don't know what it is, but today is the rookie premiere for the NFL, and we have images of both Cam Ward and Travis Hunter in their respective uniforms. I don't like either of the Jaguars or the Titans, like teal, light blue uniforms. I just don't. I mean, there's reason my Jacksonville uniform jersey I have is the black jersey. I love that and how it looks. And for Tennessee, I also prefer the darker navy that they have. The dark light blue mixed with just the accents of the navy does not work as well as I think they think it does. Now, if it was that really bright light blue and that bright red that the Oilers have, it would probably look fantastic, even with the tight end style. But they're never gonna bring that color scheme back on a consistent basis. They're not even wearing the Oilers throwbacks this year. Oh yeah, there was a missed face mask on Birmingham. I'm sorry, Blandino. I would 99% of the time I agree with stuff you said. That is 100% a face mask. His head does move enough, and the hand gets inside the face mask. I have no idea what you're talking about there. That's a bad fail challenge. That is a terrible call by Blandino in the replay booth. Even in full speed, you can see his head jerk back. That is bad. But they're not saying it was a failed challenge. There's just apparently a replay review on it. So Duggan to throw on 3rd and 8. Pressure coming and sacked. Back at the 16, 17 yard lines. A 3 and out for St. Louis. Yeah, that was a terrible explanation by Blandino on why that wasn't a penalty. They gotta go full speed and his head didn't jerk back enough. Yes, it did. You can see it. In full speed, you can see the hand get in the face mask and his head move. That's a penalty, man. Come on. Again, majority of the time, I agree with Blandino and how he explains things. That was bad. Punt comes off clean, and what a punt. Bouncing at the 20 and will be down at about the 24. That's how you flip a field. And the Stallions will begin from inside the 25. I want to say good on Anthony Beck for not throwing that challenge. I guess it's probably because Blandino called for the replay, but yeah. So Smith and shotgun, a back to each side. 1st and 10 from the 24. Play action looking to throw. Pressure coming and fumble. Ball's loose, picked up by St. Louis. Going the other way, inside the 20 to 15. Still on his feet. Inside the 10 and finally brought down at the 7. Peter Tamupenu picks it up and it's Travis Feeney that forces it loose. Ball don't lie. Ball don't lie. Stallions have, Battlehawks have it. 1st and goal. Ball don't lie. Travis Feeney off the left edge forces it loose. And Peter Tamupenu goes the other way with it. Ball don't lie. Now Duggan and shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. 1st and goal from the 7. Duggan, handoff to Sailors, up the middle, inside the 5, and brought down at about the 2.5-ish. And now there's a penalty marker down. They're calling the legal formation on St. Louis. So first and goal once again. Duggan in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receiving options to the right. Ball on the 12-yard line. Gonna keep it himself left side. Has some room inside the 5. Max Duggan for the pylon. And it's a touchdown, St. Louis. Second of the day for Max Duggan. They take the lead. Under 13.5 to play in the first half. It is a 12-9 St. Louis lead. Thanks to the legs of Max Duggan. He was the front of the football was able to knock down that pylon. Max Duggan. Woo. Yeah, whenever I think chilly, I think a little like hot as well. Pass over the middle on the 1-point try to Jacob Sailors is gonna be a successful try. It's a 5-point Battlehawks lead. More like dogging. You do got that dog in him. We're seeing a little bit of that 2022 TCU Duggan out here today. Travis Feeney forced it loose on the first play of the Birmingham drive. And Duggan takes it from there, 12 yards out, puts the Battlehawks on top. What a sequence. And we head to a commercial break. Man, oh man. All right, commercial break. What a sequence. What a series of events there. That's a hell of a sequence there. There's 5 minutes left to play in the first half between the Panthers and Roughnecks. It's a 14-9 game. Okay, I use the UFL app for keeping up on games I'm not able to watch. It is glitched right now to where it is showing when I go to drives for the Michigan-Houston game. It is also showing the drives for this game here between St. Louis and Birmingham. That's funny. How do you mess that up? There we go. And it was Kiki Chisholm on the touchdown grab for Houston. We still have a commercial break here between the Stallions and Battlehawks. And simply, ball don't lie. All right, just coming back from commercial break. Taking another look at that Max Duggan 12-yard touchdown run. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid run by Duggan, able to get to the sideline and make a play. That's some good old complimentary football. In the span of 2 plays, the defense gets you the ball back, and then you take the lead. Just love to see it. And Blankenship's kickoff is underway, going to be returned beginning from about the 5. Has some room, and that's Marlon Williams trying to flip the field, and going to be brought down near the 24. All right. So again, DC clinches the playoffs with a win, as does Birmingham, but Birmingham also clinches with a Houston loss. St. Louis clinches with a win and Arlington loss. And I believe Michigan clinches with a win. I think a Michigan win clinches it for both Birmingham and Michigan. So we'll see. Handoff up the middle on the first play of the drive to CJ Marable will gain about 7, maybe 8. When the entirety of the playoffs could be decided this week. Under 13 minutes to play in the first half. Second and 2. Smith and shotgun back to his right. Tight end in the backfield to his left. Smith going to hand this off to Marable once again up the middle. Has some room past the 40 and brought down near the 44. It would be... I want the Battlehawks to at least make the championship, because I want to see what that crowd would be like for a championship game in St. Louis, with St. Louis playing in it. All right, Smith alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Ball on their own 43-yard line. Smith looking to throw. Pressure coming, pass out right side, going to be incomplete as it was short-armed and fell about 2 yards short of the intended target of Cade Johnson was the intended target there. Ball falls short at 2nd and 10. Yep. 11.5 to play in this first half. Smith in shotgun once again. A back to each side, gonna motion one of them out wide to the right as we're gonna delay hand this off up the middle for Ricky Person, who gains about 5 on the play. Just shy of midfield. Third down. It's a 3rd and 6. Smith in shotgun, a back to each side. Looking for that plus 47-yard line to keep the drive alive. Smith looking to throw. Pass over the middle, caught by Sternberger for a first down and then some to about the plus 42. A gain of 11 for the Stallions. Yeah, it was just man on man, and St. Louis seemed to have Mike Rose, the linebacker, on a weird QB spy there. And he was up close to the line, maybe looking for a potential delayed handoff as well. But yeah, they left the middle of the field wide open there. So Smith and shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. And going to hand this off to Person up the middle, who's going to get About 5 on the play. Up inside the 40 to the 38-ish. So a 2nd and 5. Smith in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Going to hand this off once again up the middle for CJ Marable. Going to get a gain of 3 up to the 35. All right, 3rd and 2. Big 3rd down here for the Stallions. Not quite in field goal range yet. There's only 9 minutes to play in the first half. Smith alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Smith will look to throw. Pressure coming. Pass right side is incomplete with penalty markers down. Had to get that ball out quick. Rush throw wasn't on time. Hands to the face on St. Louis, though, keeps the drive alive. Had the 3rd down stand. You dialed up that blitz perfectly. But they're calling hands to the face. And yeah, he gets up there in the face mask. Called it on Miles Jones. You had the 3rd down stand. That's a bad penalty to take there. So 1st and 10 now. Jamar Smith. He was the Stallions quarterback back during their first 2 championships. As the handoff to CJ Marable, he's going to gain about 2. Yeah, so in 2022, he led the Stallions to a championship. He played a little bit during the 2023 season. I think that was when they started doing a 2 QB system with him and Alex Magoo for 2023, which led them to their 2nd chip. And now he's back about 2 years later for the Stallions, trying to lead them to a 4th. As Smith in shotgun back to his right, 2 receiving options to each side. A handoff to Ricky Person is going to lose about a yard back to the 30-yard line. So a 3rd and long coming up. Seven and a half to play in the first half. So Smith in shotgun, the back to his left. Jay Sternberger in the backfield to his right. As he'll look to throw. Pressure coming, gonna step to avoid it towards the right side. Pass right side, caught by Sternberger. Has space inside the 20 to about the 16. They keep the drive moving, have now entered the red zone once again. Good movement there by Jamar Smith in the backfield. And his placed well for Sternberger. Ball now on the 16. Smith in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. And going to look to throw. Quick pass left side. Going to be a screen there. Going to be a quick screen for Deon Kane, who's going to get a gain of 6 up to the 10. Little low throw on the screen, but it works. And yeah, it was a low throw on that screen, but Deon Kane able to scrape that off before it hits the ground. Oh, now they're saying it did hit the ground. Okay, it's incomplete. 2nd and 10. I thought at first he was able to pick that off, or not pick it off, but like, you know what I mean. Pick it up off the ground before it fully touched, but I guess you're saying he didn't. Back at the 16-yard line, Smith and shotgun back to his right, two receivers to each side, can motion to back out wide to the left. Quick throw left side, that one's going to be incomplete once again. Low throw, can't quite get it out that way. 3rd and 10. Honestly, if I was the St. Louis defender there, I would have picked that ball up just in case. Throws like that, where it's behind the line, you never know. You never know if it was actually behind like a backwards pass or not. So 3rd and 10. Smith and shotgun back to his right, two receivers to each side. Low snap, but he picks it up. Avoids one sack, trying to step forward and going to be brought down at the line for no gain. Peter Tamu-Penu, the first in the backfield. They bend but don't break. It's a 4th and 10 coming up. Yeah, good pass stun. As Tamu-Penu pretty much comes clean but misses high. Yeah, I mean, it's a good play by Jamar Smith to avoid that sack because he was about to get crushed by Tamu-Penu. Instead, out comes Harrison Mevis. Kick is up, and it is right down the middle. We have ourselves a 1-point game with 4:40 to play in the half. .440 to play in the half. And St. Louis, who gets the ball to begin the second half, is in a prime position here to extend this lead. We shall see. We shall see. We're at commercial break. After the field goal for the Stallions, as we're commercial break, I'll quickly be right back. All right, just coming back from commercial break. Perfectly timed this shit up. Let's see what St. Louis can do up by 1. First time, it's going to be the first time this offense has the ball with the lead today. They've been playing some really solid football in the past 2 drives. Can they continue to build off of it? We shall see. I mean, that's not, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that. I mean, you all have had some pretty good games from playing from ahead as well. But it's more so just the fact that you're very, I mean, in theory though, you guys should be just as good playing from ahead. It's very ground heavy style of football. But the biggest issue is if a team is solid against the ground, you're not gonna be able to really put your knee on. You're not gonna be able to really put pedal to the metal and begin the process of blowing them away because your passing game isn't as great as it probably should be with the guys you have. So it's weird. All right, punt comes off. Punt. Kickoff underway. Going to be returned beginning from the 3. Has some room to work past the 30 to about the 33, 34. That's Gary Jennings on the return. And now it comes Max Duggan once again. I'm gonna see what he can do on this drive. All right, let's see what we can do here. Duggan in shotgun back to his right, going to keep it himself right side on the read option. Has some room down the sideline, going to gain about 5. I mean, it's the QB run game has been really solid for St. Louis today. A large part of it is the safeties are not picking good angles to get towards Duggan. So Duggan in shotgun back to his right for 2nd and 5, going to hand this off up the middle, and that's going to be nothing on the play. Yeah, Jarvion Howard can't find much running room. Going to be a 3rd and 5 coming up. Okay, this is cool as hell. The Yankees are having a Yankee Stadium popcorn bucket during the Subway Series this weekend. Fucking hell yeah. All right, Duggan in shotgun back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Going to motion the back out wide to the right. As Duggan will keep it himself, trying to QB draw that gets blown up and a loss of about 5. This Birmingham defense locks down. Perrion Winfrey makes the tackle for loss there. It's a 3 and out for the Battlehawks. Yeah. Good pass stunts up front that just so happened to work for the QB draw. The punt comes off clean, going to be caught and brought down at about the 21. That's where the Stallions will begin this next drive. Oh no, they did say that. Okay. It did say that St. Louis lost their challenge on that 3rd and a 2nd and 13 play from early on and from right before the start 2nd quarter. So they only have 2 timeouts left and no challenges for the rest of the game. Blowing your challenge in the 1st quarter is crazy. Again, that's one that they should have won, but it's still crazy. As we're heading to a commercial break as well. We shall see. We shall see. Still at commercial break. We shall see. Yeah, St. Louis gets ball to begin the 2nd half. Birmingham in a pretty solid spot here, only down by 1, and with the ball with about 2.5 to play in this 1st half. So we shall see. We'll say though, the offense hasn't been too spectacular this game. They've had a few really solid drives, but for the most part, nothing that's been really standing out. Their one touchdown was a one-play 65-yard bomb by Jamar Smith to Deion Kane. You're not going to get that too many times against St. Louis. So we'll see. I would really like it if they can have one drive that's like a long, sustained drive that ends in the end zone. It'll make me feel a little bit more confident about them going forward. But we'll see. Showcasing Skip Holtz and Jamar Smith talking on the sideline there about how like sometimes just make the smart play. I think he's been playing fine this one. Again, first start in over 2 years, and you have to make it at St. Louis, which is a very tough place to play. So I think he's playing fine so far in this one. We'll see how he continues as he's in shotgun back to his right, 3 receivers to the right as well. Gonna hand this off to CJ Marable, and that goes nowhere. 2.5 to play in the first half. Don't need to run one more play if they don't want to before the 2-minute warning. The game clock is ahead of the play clock. So it's 2nd and 10 for the Stallions. And it seems like they're going to let this clock run and just get into the 2-minute warning. Yep, 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play in this first half. All right, so 2 minutes to play in this first half. It's a 1-point game. St. Louis with the lead. We shall see. It's a 2nd and 10 for the Stallions, with a chance to take the lead entering the half. St. Louis gives ball to begin the second half. So this could be a very... This drive here could really flip the tide of this game, depending on what the outcome is. We shall see. Bob Flash, did you see, or did anyone in the stream, did y'all see the report from the other day about Caleb Williams and the pre-draft shit that was going down with him? And the whole like he did not want to go to Chicago. His dad tried any way possible for them not to draft him, to the point where he was thinking about signing with the UFL. Yeah, it's crazy that all of that has came out now. Like that's something that back in the day you would find out through a memoir, like 5 years after he retires. But all of that came out like 2 days ago. As Smith is gonna pass right side, caught with some room to run on a bubble screen for a gain of about 10. That was Marcus Bowe on the reception. But yesterday, Boomer Esiason was on his radio show or whatever it is, podcast, radio show, whatever, and talking about how like, oh, Caleb Williams is this entitled douchebag for what happened in that pre-draft stuff. And then like 5 minutes later, people posting clips from his A Football Life about how he felt about the Colts moving from Baltimore to Indianapolis. Quick pass right side, caught by Davion Davis, going to gain about 9, maybe 10. Which I didn't even realize Boomer Esiason was going to pull that kind of thing. Where, like, if the Colts would have drafted him, he would have refused to play for them. Because they left Baltimore. Like, that's crazy. A minute and a half to play in the first half. Smith in shotgun, back to his left, 2 receivers to each side. Going to look to throw. Has some time. Pass right side, wide open, but incomplete. Off the mark, too far outside for Marcus Bowe. Yeah, he is. I won't say crazy, but he's definitely saying shit where it's like, I get why you're saying it, but you really shouldn't. It was the same thing with his talks about the Jets the past few years. Because again, for some reason, he's like a diehard Jets fan. Despite playing there for like 5 years. Like, he loves talking about the Jets. I'm just like, dude, the Jets are nowhere near as good as you think they are. Smith in shotgun, back to his left, looking to throw on 2nd and 10. Pressure coming, pass left side is incomplete. Too far outside, looking for Jalen Camp. And it's a 3rd and 10 with 1:22 to play in the first half. They are on their own 40-yard lines. Need about 60 yards to find the end zone. Need about 30 for field goal range. As Smith can avoid some sacks here and looking, going to keep it himself. Up the middle and going to gain about 4. St. Louis makes the 3rd down stand. It's a 4th and 6, and they'll call their 2nd timeout. With 1:13 to play in the first half, looking to extend this lead before halftime as St. Louis gets ball to begin the second half as well. The first quarter ended with a 9-6 Birmingham lead. But very quickly on into the second quarter, St. Louis took the lead and have been holding on from there. But yeah, I got plans for pretty much right after this game ends because it's the weekend. My cousin's in town, so just making sure that's all set up. 1:13 to play in the half. Kick punt comes off clean as St. Louis looks to extend this lead with about a minute to play. Return will begin from the 15. That's Jacquard Pearson going to get to about the 17. Yeah, the first quarter was interesting, I guess you can say. Birmingham had a one-play 65-yard touchdown throw to open up the scoring in this one. They followed that up with a pretty solid field goal. They followed that up by forcing a fumble on the kickoff, but went 3 and out to only get a field goal out of that drive. And then it took until about 3 minutes of game time ago to get back on the board. They make it a 1-point game. But it's been an offensive performance that like is solid, but could obviously be better. As Duggan looks to throw on 1st and 10, pressure coming, rolls out to the right to avoid it. Gonna keep it himself and get out of bounds past the 20 to about the 22. Under a minute to play now in this first half. It has definitely been a game where it's hard to tell who's like it's hard to tell who has the advantage at this point. Because for as good as St. Louis's ground game has been, Max Duggan does have 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. They only have 7 yards passing so far. As Duggan will look to throw on 2nd and 5. Has time, pass deep, over the middle, is caught. Blake Jackson gonna get past midfield and has some room down the sideline and getting out of bounds near the 45. Well, there's the passing yards. 47 seconds left in the half. They are about 5, maybe 10 yards away from field goal range for Rodrigo Blankenship. As Max Duggan with a strike over the middle to get some things going. Yeah, I can make sure for that. All right, so Duggan in shotgun, back to his right. Bobbled snap, and Duggan's going to fall on it and just get down back near their own 44 with 40 seconds to play. Yeah, first quarter ended 9-6. First quarter ended 9-6 in favor of Birmingham. Yeah, bobbled that snap. It was slightly high. Now they need about 20-25 yards for field goal range. It would be a 2nd and 20. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can't be forgetting the possession indicator thing. I should be caught up on live here, making sure I'm not behind on this. So 2nd and 20. Duggan in shotgun back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. St. Louis called their final timeout after that play. As Duggan's going to roll to his left to buy some time. Pass left side, caught by Akeem Butler in the flat, and only going to gain about 2 before being stood up. He stayed in bounds. No timeouts remain. 30 seconds, have to hurry up. It's a 3rd and 18. You need a first down. Oh, never mind. Is Birmingham calling the timeout here? Yeah, Birmingham calls their first timeout with 30 seconds of play in the half. It's going to be a 3rd and 18 roughly. We shall see. A 3rd and 17 they're calling it. I mean, Birmingham wants ball before the half ends. Because they didn't want to try and get a field goal and take the lead. So I understand calling a timeout there, but I just don't know. I'm not sure if I would have called a timeout there. But I do understand it. Because you're still going to have a timeout left once you get the ball back. As it's 3rd and 17 with 34 seconds to play in the half. Birmingham looking to get the ball back. Needs one more stop. If I'm St. Louis, I'm looking for Akeem Butler over the middle. Have him on a seam route. Try and split those safeties as they're looking like they're going to run cover 2 or cover 4. Duggan to throw on 3rd and 17. Pass right side, going to be caught by Frank Darby. Has some room, gets up to about the 40 before being brought down. As it's a 4th and about 5. Yeah, St. Louis starts the half with the ball. As they're going fire drill, field goal here. For Blankenship on for a long try. His career long's 56. They're going to be able to snap this with this from 58. Rodrigo Blankenship. Kick is up. It has the accuracy. Doesn't have the leg. It bounces off the crossbar and out. Just barely didn't have the leg into it. It's going to remain a 1-point game at the half. Hey, that's still a good kick from Blankenship. Ever so short. Oh, if they were a yard closer. Blankenship no longer perfect on the season. That was his first miss. Hey, that's still a solid kick. Ballflash with that, I would have find it's still funny. I would have find it funnier if if it ended with it's all about the Mets. It would have made no sense, but it would have been funnier. Yeah, it was a solid first half all around. A 1 point St. Louis lead. I think you're happy with that, with how the game started, with the kickoff, the fumble on the kickoff, and all that. But yeah, again, it was still funny. Yeah, that was it. The fact him having the accuracy on that miss is a good thing. It only missed him by about a yard, by about like a yard in like field position distance, not actual like yard in like where it landed. If they were a yard closer, that probably bounces. It bounces on top of the crossbar and in. So like that's still not that's still a good miss for a kicker. Obviously, you kind of hoping that a kicker can hit from 58 kind of consistently. So definitely probably some kick power questions there. But I think it's still a solid kick. But we shall see. We're at halftime. We're at halftime. Gonna quickly start halftime by saying if you are new, subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. If you haven't already, we're at 413 right now. I think the hope is to get to 500 by the end of the year. So that'd be appreciated. On top of the UFL, we also do the same exact streams and coverage for the NFL season in the fall. As you can tell behind me, I am a Dolphins fan primarily, but I do for all the Dolphin games. I do all primetime games in the NFL, and I throw in some other games here and there depending on times and whatnot. But yeah, really appreciated. So stick around. As soon as the UFL season ends, we begin the off season coverage of the NFL. Going to be discussing free agency and drafts for teams on top of what I project for them to do in the following season. On top of some other video essays that I have planned and are in the works right now. Yeah, stick around. Really appreciate it. Also, leave a like on the stream. You know that whole thing. We shall see. We just see about the rest of this game. I'll also be live tomorrow for Arlington and DC at noon EST. On top of being live for pretty much every single game the remainder of the UFL season. The only reason why I'm not live with every game this week is because it's a regional broadcast, so I quite literally can't be live for Michigan and Houston, what's going on right now as well. Unless I wanted to download the Fox Sports app, which I don't. I already have the CBS Sports app, and that's done me dirty a few times. But yeah, we're at halftime in this one. I'll be exiting halftime in Michigan, Houston soon. Now that I think about it. That game's out of the half. It's a 14-12 Michigan lead. A Michigan win puts both them and the Stallions into the USFL Conference Championship game. A St. Louis win and DC win tomorrow puts both of them in the USFL Conference in the XFL Conference Championship game. So the playoffs could be clinched this week in its entirety. There we go. Yeah, tomorrow's game between Arlington and DC is going to be a great one as well. Yep, we're at halftime in this one. Playoffs are a few weeks away. It's the case where pretty sure playoffs are. I want to say it's playoffs are June. Playoffs are June 8th, I believe, for both conferences, and then the championship game is June 14th. So we got about about a month left, maybe, of the season. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting finish for all of this. The matchup between St. Louis and DC to end the year is gonna be a massive matchup. That sounds right. Yeah, I think so. It's weird that they have the championship on a Saturday, but it's a gamble. It's a gamble for two reasons, technically three, because having a championship in St. Louis is a gamble in itself. But if St. Louis makes the championship game, having it on a Saturday is perfect. That would be perfect. Because people are gonna show out for it, especially if it's St. Louis in it. And then they're just gonna celebrate the rest of the night, assuming St. Louis wins. So the hope is St. Louis finally gets it done this year, but we'll see. It's gonna be a very interesting end to this. We shall see. Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. Is it is still a gamble, and the fact that DC has turned it around this year is making it even more of a gamble. But we'll see. As we're still at halftime, should be exiting halftime here shortly. Yeah, I mean that St. Louis DC rivalry is a great rivalry in the UFL, and I'm hoping Audi Field shows out in a few weeks for that matchup. And also one final thing I want to say about St. Louis's upcoming schedule. Technically, they are at San Antonio next week, but if I remember correctly, that game will be played in St. Louis. And it will be the case of San Antonio is going to be the Acton home team, but it's in St. Louis because of scheduling conflicts with the Alamo Dome. And the same thing would be the case if DC is the 1 seed in the XFL and St. Louis is the 2 seed. The game will be played in St. Louis, but DC is the Acton home team. Yeah, I mean that game kicks off week 9. So it should be an interesting one to kick off the week. San Antonio is a weird team. I mean, they played well last night, but it was against Memphis. So really, who knows? We'll see how that plays out. I'm more looking forward towards the Birmingham, Michigan game next week, as that's going to be a massive game in the USFL conference. But we'll see. I want to say DC plays Houston next week. I believe DC would play Houston next week, which means there's Arlington, Memphis. So a pretty interesting week 9, all things considered. But again, we'll touch on that more on Tuesday and Thursday next week before leading up to the games. Yeah, I mean it's been going kind of, I wouldn't say going kind of fast. It hasn't really felt like it's been going by quick, but yeah, we're in week 8 already. Been a fun season to say the least. I also haven't called a lot of games just yet, but I'm gonna make up for it. As we're just coming back from halftime, the start of the second half is on the way here shortly as we await Birmingham to kick this one off. The St. Louis Battlehawks have a 1-point lead and are about to be getting the ball back. As they keep highlighting the throw-in motion of Max Duggan. And it's more so of a baseball style throw-in motion. It's one that I have similarly as well, where the ball drops more so towards the hip before being brought back up. Most quarterbacks, they keep it tight around the shoulder area. But oftentimes, if you have quarterbacks who also have a big baseball background, they have that more arm drop in throw in motion. I mean, both the Arena Football League and the Indoor Football League are messes right now, so I'm not surprised by that. It's been, I mean, those leagues, man. I can make a, I plan at one point to make a video on that league and what happened because I know Urinating Tree made a video on it last year when it was really at its height. But it's still like I still think like a few years down the road when we see like the true outcome of it all, I think it'll be interesting to see kind of how that played out. Or like once the league gets like more stable to a point, I think that could be a fun video of like the early stages of it. Yeah, I know he still has it pinned his thread about the turmoil of all that. So I gotta make sure I save that actually at some point. Uh, Kickoff hasn't happened yet. It's currently Skip Holtz is getting interviewed on the sideline as we wait for kickoff. All right, Harrison Mevis on to send this one down as the second half kickoff is underway. We are back here in St. Louis for the second half. Going to be returned beginning from the 10-yard line by Blake Jackson. Going to spin his way to about the 22, 23-ish yard line. And Max Duggan will take the field and start from there. It's been an interesting performance from this St. Louis offense today. Duggan 6 for 10 for 64 yards after one half, but he does have 2 rushing touchdowns. Jacob Sailors has 4 carries for 22 yards, and the leading receiver so far is Blake Jackson with 2 catches for 36 yards. Duggan himself has 38 rushing yards on the day on top of those 2 touchdowns. And St. Louis is a really ground-heavy team, so I'm not too surprised. But we'll like to see that the pass game get opened up a bit here. As Duggan will look to throw to begin the half, ball is tipped at the line and incomplete. Carry on Winfrey gets a hand on that one, and it's 2nd and 10. Duggan in shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left as well. And ball on the 25-yard line. Duggan, play action looking to throw. Has time, plenty of time. Pass left side caught by Sailors in the flat. And that's a gain of 3. Oh, Bradley Anai is out for the game with a thigh injury. Oh, that's a tough loss for that front 7. As Duggan alone in shotgun on 3rd and 7. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, looking to throw. Duggan with some time, pass over the middle, is well off the mark and picked off. Looking for Hakeem Butler, but well overthrew it and is going the other way. Birmingham's defense makes a play as AJ Thomas just sitting there waiting for the ball to go to his to enter, waiting for the ball as it landed directly in his lap. And it's Birmingham football early on. Well overshot Hakeem Butler. AJ Thomas pretty much caught that like it was a punt. And we're heading to a commercial break. Devastating way to start the half. Russian way to start the half. But we shall see. As we're at a commercial break. Go at commercial break. Not how you wanted to start the half if you're St. Louis, but gotta be able to overcome it. It'll be Birmingham ball at about the plus 45-ish. We shall see. As we're just coming back from commercial break. Yeah, they're showing that Duggan interception once again. Yeah, that ball is a wobbler that sails about 10 yards. And they'll be starting from their own 45. Yeah, that's a tough one. First play of the drive, going to be a pass to Davion Davis on the left side. Going to get about 2, maybe 3 on the screen. Yeah, 2nd and 6 coming up. Under 13.5 to play. Smith and shotgun, a back to each side. A Sternberger in the backfield to his right, actually. And going to play action, look to throw. Pass left side is going to be caught by Deion Kane. Room to run. The 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. And in 2 plays, the Stallions retake the lead. Deion Kane and Jamar Smith have a connection in this one. 2 touchdown passes, both to Deion Kane. Both from 50+ yards out. And the Stallions retake the lead. That's a good reaction time by Deion Kane to get his head turned and his hands up for that pass. Nice on-time throw by Jamar Smith. And Deion Kane uses his speed to go the distance. Now the 2-point try from the 5 to make it a 7-point game. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Smith to throw, back end zone, incomplete through the hands of Jordan Thomas. It remains a 5-point game. All right, now we're ready. Yeah, time to really see if St. Louis plays better from behind. That was a nice play by Birmingham. We shall see. You just want to be a hero. Yeah. I mean, Duggan was that hero for TCU, so he has that in him. We shall see. We're at a commercial break. We're at a commercial break after the 2-play, 55-yard touchdown drive for the Stallions to retake the lead. We shall see. Still plenty of time left in this one. We only just started the second half. That's that's great, Bob Flash. Wants to be Iron Man, but he's barely Bucky. That's crazy. All right, just coming back from commercial break. Kickoff underway. Going to be returned beginning from about the 5-yard line. Has some room down that left side. Going to make one man miss and spin his way to the 29-ish yard line with a penalty marker down. and is a legal formation on the Stallions. 5 yards tacked on to the end of the return. First down, St. Louis. I wouldn't say barely Bucky. I would say he is Bucky before the Winter Soldier turn. Jacob Sailors gets the handoff on 1st and 10, and that's a gain of roughly 5. Yeah, I would say that's more accurate. Second and 5 coming up for the Battlehawks. Now down by 5 after an interception that led to 6 the other way on a 2-play drive for the Stallions. Handoff up the middle once again for Jacob Sailors. We're gaining about 3, maybe 3.5-ish. And a 3rd and short coming up. That's the 4th different touchdown grab of 50-plus yards for Deion Kane. Crazy. Duggan in shotgun, a back to each side for 3rd and 2. Gonna keep play action, look to throw. Now rolling right side, now lobbing it right side. That's caught by Jake Sutherland. Due to contact, a gain of 5 and a first down for St. Louis. The first 3rd down conversion of the game for the Battlehawks comes in a big spot there early on in the second half. Little RPO action for Max Duggan. Like to see that. And honestly, if they can build the RPO into this game more, I think they'll be fine. Duggan in shotgun back to his left, 2 receiving options to each side after motioning Jacquard Pearson. Quick pass to Pearson on the left side, going to gain about a yard on the screen with a Battlehawk down afterwards. I believe that's Akeem Butler. Or at least it looked like it was a Battlehawk down, but letting the clock run here. Oh yeah, saying okay, everyone got up then, okay. Duggan in shotgun back behind him. 2 receiving options to the left. Going to hand this off left side for Jacob Sailors. Has some blocking and room to run and going to fight for a gain of about 8. Jacob Sailors has been a really solid running back this season. If he can continue it and really, if he can find that week 1 and 2 performances in this back half of the season, St. Louis is going to be a tough team to beat. Honestly, he might have gotten enough for the first there. I think he's going to be 3rd in inches, though. Yeah, saying 3rd in the, they're saying it's just saying 3rd and 1. Duggan in shotgun back behind him, 3 receiving options to the right. Going to hand this off once again to Sailors. Breaks through, has some lane, has some room. Past the 25 and bulldozing his way to the 20. Jacob Sailors running well once again. I mean, Butler also missed a good chunk of the season. And this is also a very different style Battlehawks team compared to what y'all have with Adrian McCarron. It's run heavy. It's a very run heavy team, and when you do throw, it's primarily middle of the field. And Hakeem Butler is not really built for that style of an offense. It won't be the end of him in spring football. He'll go somewhere else. As the handoff right side for Jarvion Howard, it's going to be fumbled. After breaking a few tackles, the ball comes loose and is picked up by the Stallions. Jarvion Howard was in for a play because Jacob Sailors was catching his breath. And in that play, the ball comes loose and it's Stallions football up by 5 with about 10.5 to play. Breaking tackles well, but eventually ball gets forced loose. That's unfortunate. Just unfortunate. Yeah, that's a tough one. As we head to a commercial break as well. Just unfortunate series of events. We shall see them. Okay, let me. We still like commercial break in this one. I mean, St. Louis's defense is still in a fine spot. It's not like they're near midfield or anything already. Probably, the defense will keep them in this game, but these turnovers have not been good for St. Louis. They're gonna need to force one of their own if they're gonna really come back in this. They're gonna need to force another one of themselves. Yeah. Again, he does a good job. He breaks 2 tackles. That's a good play by Birmingham's defense. Daniel Isom makes a great play forcing that ball loose. That's all. It's just a great play. That's all it is. Trying to fight for the extra yards. The ball's going to come loose eventually. Again, the only way St. Louis can clinch a playoff spot this week is they have to win and they need Arlington to lose. As there's movement up front before the snap, we'll see if they who they called this on. Gonna be encroachment on St. Louis. So 1st and 5 coming up. Yeah, if St. Louis loses, Arlington stays alive no matter what. DC can still clinch with a win tomorrow. Both Birmingham and Michigan can clinch today. So we'll see. Smith in shotgun back to his right, gonna hand this off up the middle for Ricky Person, and going to bounce his way outside and pick up the first down and then some, a gain of roughly 7. So some good patient running by Ricky Person. He's been a back I've liked for a while now. Even dating back to last year in the UFL, I thought for sure he would have found been a staple on the NFL roster last year, but he's back here in the UFL and continues to play well. As there is a Stallion down after that play with 8.5 to play in the 3rd quarter. That's Armani Taylor, who's down, that left tackle there for the Stallions. As we're getting a glimpse between Michigan and Houston, we're going to call one play here. McLennan in shotgun back behind him, 3 receiving options to the left. Is a 3rd and 2 and a 15-point Michigan lead. Handoff right side, going to be enough for the first down and a gain of roughly 3 for Lingard. Don't remember his first name. I do not have the roster set up for this. Lorenzo Lingard. And now there's a roughneck down slow to get up. So that game's going to be pushed to the side. As here from St. Louis, the Stallion is up, walking off under his own power. That's good to see. We'll wait to get more word on him. It's a 1st and 10 for the Stallions now. So 1st and 10. Ball is on the Stallions' own 32-yard line. Smith in shotgun, going to hand this off to Ricky Person once again, right side. Has some room, going to trying to break off one tackle, but Chris Payton-Jones stays with it. And forces the forward progress to be stopped after a gain of about 9. Yeah, like this St. Louis ground defense has not really been playing like I thought they would today. Smith in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receiving options to the left side as well. Ball now on their own 41.5-yard line. Smith going to hand this off up the middle once again. That's a 1st down carry and then some. Kyle going to get pushed and still going past the 45 to about the 47 for Ricky Person on the carry. Another 1st down pickup, and they keep the drive moving. And so 1st and 10 coming up. Smith in shotgun, 4 receiving options to the left. Quick throw, right side is incomplete. Low throw on the slant. Looking for Jalen Camp, as there is a Battlehawk slow to get up after that play. It's Isaiah Mack, who is listed as one of 3, listed as one of 2 defensive ends for the Battlehawks. He is now down and slow to get up. We're going to head to a commercial break due to injury timeout with 7 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. All right. This St. Louis defense gonna need to step up a little bit. Try to get this offensive ball back. But even then, like, this offense just has not been consistent today in their style. It's been weird. The passing game needs to step up a bit as well. It's been interesting. We shall see. And we're at commercial break. Still at commercial break. We're at commercial break still. All right, just coming back from commercial break. 7 minutes to play in the 3rd. Smith in shotgun, a back to his left. Marlon Williams in the backfield to his right. Gonna motion him out wide to the left. Smith to throw, and I can delay handoff up the middle to CJ Marable that gains about 3 up to midfield. A 3rd and 7 coming up, 6.5 to play in the third quarter. St. Louis's defense needs to make a stand here soon. All right, 3rd and 7. Smith alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Play clock winding down. Get the snap off in time. Smith to throw. Pass right side is caught by Marlon Williams. Breaks off 1 tackle and going to get the first down and then some. Pass to 40 to the 37. Keeping the drive alive and getting closer and closer to field goal range. Trying to make this at least an 8-point game. Oh, it was there. That's a tackle you need to make. Nate Medors slips off of Marlon Williams there. So Smith and shotgun, a back to each side. Ball on the plus 37. Gonna look to throw once again. Pass right side is caught. A gain of 10 for Jalen Camp. What a catch through the contact. 5:15 to play in the third quarter, and the Stallions have entered field goal range. That's a tight window throw. And what a catch from Jalen Camp, hanging on to that ball. A little high, but a good job by Camp to hang on to it. Smith in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Going to look to throw once again. Pump faking left side. Pressure coming and sacked. Back at the 32. Pita Tamu Penu gets in the backfield. It's a 2nd and long coming up. 4:35 to play in the third quarter. Smith in shotgun back to his left, 2 receivers to each side. Going to keep it himself left side on a read option. And that's going to get to about the 26. Gets those 5 yards right back from the sack. Under 4 minutes to play in the quarter. Third and 10. Smith in shotgun, a back to his right, and receiver lined up in the backfield to his left. Smith with some time, going to step up to avoid pressure. Now going to keep it himself. Stiff arming his way and stretching forward. Depending on the spot, might be a 4th and 1. But Jamar Smith running well those last 2 plays. I think he's going to be down just short. We'll see. Down there. Yeah, I think he's just short. And they're going to send out the field goal unit. The Battlehawks defense makes a stand. It is an 8-point game with 2.5 to play in the third quarter. Going to come down to this offense. Yep. Still waiting for Birmingham to send this one down now. Yeah, I mean, Peter Tamupenu been having a great season this year. 7.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Looking like he's going to be getting a shot at the NFL come the fall. As kickoff is underway, going to be returned beginning from the 5. Going to have some room up the middle past the 30 and brought down near the 35. This Blake Jackson on the return. 2.5 to play in the third quarter. Out comes Max Duggan once again. And you're going to need something on this drive. You need points here at this point. In this stage of the game, down by 8, you're going to need points at the very least. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. 3 receiving options to the right after motioning the tight end over. Duggan, handoff up the middle for Sailors, is going to get about 5. At some point, you need the pass game to show up. At some point, you need the pass game to show up. And when you get to that stage, Akeem Butler needs to be the guy. He needs more than 2 targets in a game. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. Going to hand this off once again to Sailors. Has room down the right side looking for the sideline. And going to stiff arm his way past midfield and out of bounds near the 46, 47. Some good running from Jacob Sailors once again. He's been very consistent this season for St. Louis. It's 1st and 10. Bro, I would be so happy if Jacob Sailors gets at least a preseason with Miami. Duggan, handoff to Sailors once again right side, spinning his way, trying to find some room. Eventually does, and gets about 4 on the play. Yeah, some good running from Sailors, man. He's been so consistent this year for St. Louis. It's very impressive. So 2nd and 7 coming up. We'll need a gain of 3. We're under a minute to play in the third quarter. Duggan in shotgun play action looking to throw. Has time. Plenty of time. He's now going to step up and keep it himself. 1st down and more. Past the 35 and sliding down near the 31. Good slides. There was a Stallion headhunting on that play. Yeah, good coverage down the field, but this offensive line blocked well enough, gave Duggan the room needed to just step up and take it himself. And yeah, there was a Stallion that would have nailed Duggan. Jeez. There's a ball now on the 32. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. A handoff up the middle for Jarvion Howard is going to gain maybe a yard. And that's the end of the third quarter. 15 minutes left. The St. Louis Battlehawks down by 8, but have ball in plus territory looking to score. Let's see if they can do it. Cap this drive off in the end zone and get the 2 points, tie this game up, make this a very interesting end. Yep, to begin this commercial break, quickly going to say, subscribe if you're new. We greatly appreciate it. The goal is to get to 500 by the end of the year. If we get, or really by the start of the NFL season, but the end of the year is more realistic. So that's what I'm going to be saying. Leave a like if you haven't already as well. We're at commercial break. And yeah, that was some 09 Saints level of headhunting there. Yeah, we're at commercial break. I'll quickly be right back. All right, back to that commercial break, waiting for the start of the fourth quarter. 15 minutes left in a thriller in St. Louis. We'll call it for now. We shall see. Honestly, I forgot that the AAF had a team in St. Louis. Or in the St. Louis, Salt Lake City. I forgot about that. Oh well, I put them in the video. The video's been out for a week already. Who cares? It's fine. It was the AAF. No one remembers it. Also, I don't think they were that good. All right, back from commercial break. Duggan in shotgun. Back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Duggan will look to throw. Pass left side is going to be incomplete. Trying to screenplay left side that gets blown up. Ball gets tipped around and nearly picked off, but falls harmlessly to the ground. Yeah, I think Ohio's going to be an interesting one to see what the team name will be. And it also just makes a lot of sense for Ohio to get a team. But I do think putting it in the Akron area is weird. I mean, it might be like in Akron, but called something else. We'll see. Duggan to throw on 3rd and 9. Has time, pass right side is short-armed and incomplete. Looking for Frank Darby, and it's 4th and 9. From the plus 31, out comes the field goal unit. And Rodrigo Blankenship to try and make this a 5-point game once again. It's a 49-yard kick from the left hash. He missed from 58 earlier in the day. This one is up, and it is good. Right down the middle. It's a 5-point Stallions lead with just under 14 minutes to play in the game. It's so funny with what's going on with the MLB right now. The whole like rivalry weekend and shit. It's dumb, but it's funny. I would more so imagine I would more so imagine either Columbus or Canton than either Akron or Dayton, but who knows? I mean, Akron does have a nice stadium they can use and still be called like one of the other cities, or just be called the Ohio something. But we'll see. We'll see. We probably won't get any type of expansion announcement for months, if at all, leading up to the 2026 season. I don't think it would be either of those. Well, one it wouldn't be Bearcats because you already have the University of Cincinnati. So I don't think they would both be Bearcats. And Bobcats, I mean, could work, but I just don't think that's the way they'll go. Again, ideally is they find a way to get the Bulldogs name and iconography. I know Canton Bulldogs is probably still trademarked by the NFL, or at least like owned by the NFL, so maybe that wouldn't be like the most reliable option, even though it's what I would want it to be. But like if you do like the Ohio Bulldogs or something else of that nature, I feel like it'll work really well. And it just as a way to like harken back to that. Yeah, exactly. All right, just coming back from commercial break. It's a 5-point Stallions lead as they're about to get the ball back after the 49-yard kick by Rodrigo Blankenship. And what has been, at this point, we can call it a thriller. A really good game in St. Louis today. All right, Blankenship set to send this one down. Kickoff underway, going to be returned from about the 1-yard line. Has some room to return this on the right side past the 30, and Dion King gets to the 34 with a penalty marker down. That was Centel, that's why I said from the logo. Hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it a little bit. So that way they can't tell. And it's just 2 letters. The penalty is holding on the Stallions. Will push them back from the end of the return. As they'll begin this drive backed up now. Yeah, and Birmingham has had 2 touchdowns in this one. Both were 50-plus yard touchdowns. Besides that, they haven't been able to do a whole lot. Smith and shotgun going to hand this off to CJ Marable, left side. That goes for no gain on the play, right back to the line of scrimmage. As the clock continues to run. $13 and a half to play in the game. We have some kind of clock stoppage here. Oh, there's a Stallion down. Another offensive lineman down for the Stallions. Their backup left tackle now, Christian DeLauro, is slow to get up. That's tough, man. That's tough. But again, tomorrow at noon, it's the Arlington Renegades against the DC Defenders. The Defenders have a chance to clinch their playoff spot with a win in that game. And then at 8 p.m. next week to kick off week 9, it is St. Louis against San Antonio. Technically, San Antonio is the home team, but it will be played in St. Louis for that game. As it's 2nd and 9 for the Stallions. Smith and shotgun, a back to each side. And going to look to throw. Quick pass over the middle, picked off! Going the other way, it's 6! The Battlehawks have the lead! A pick 6 for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Callahan O'Reilly. That's the play they needed. And they're up by 1 point once again. Very similar to the massive interception St. Louis had a few weeks ago. I want to say against Arlington in their win. Yeah, in their win that week. Or no, it was against Michigan. Very similar to their almost pick 6 against Michigan a few weeks back. Read the slant like a book. And now they're going to go for 2 to make it a 3-point game with 13-13 left in this one. What a play by Callahan O'Reilly. The backup middle linebacker making a play. Now the 2-point try from the 5. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. To make it a 3-point game. Duggan to throw. Pressure coming and trying to avoid it and going to be sacked back at the 11. It's a sack by Micah Sanders, and it remains a 1-point St. Louis lead with 13:13 to play. Callahan O'Reilly read that like a book. Holy, what a play. That is a beautiful play. And the Battlehawks have the lead. Okay. Yeah, that game started at, what, 3:30 then? Okay. It would have been at 3 o'clock tip. Yeah, that's a great play. Yeah, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Kickoff underway, going to be returned beginning from the 5 as Deion Kane with some room, going to get to about the 33, but he had plenty of space. So Smith in shotgun back to his left, a tight end in the backfield to his right. Going to hand this off to Ricky Person up the middle. That's a gain of 2, maybe 3. Yeah, that's true. ESPN's broadcast packages typically are solid. As there's another Stallion down now. That's Ricky Person. Slow to get up. That's a tough loss for this Stallions offense. They've lost 3 key players now in this one. All right, so 2nd and 8 for the Stallions. 12:44 to play, and clock now continues to run. Smith alone in shotgun, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Ball on the 34-yard line. Smith looking to throw. Not going to take it himself up the middle. Has some room. A first down and more, and sliding down near the 45, maybe the 46. A little delayed QB keeper. I like the play call there, and it works well. And now there's a St. Louis player down and slow to get up. Jeez, the injuries today, man. Is Phil Hoskins, the other only defensive end listed on the St. Louis roster, is now slow to get up. With 12:14 to play, we're headed to a commercial break. I mean, the MLB is, again, it's a weird spot. Oh, yeah, because Isaiah Mack went down earlier in this one. I'm not sure if he's been back yet or not, but yeah, he went down earlier. So at the very least, he's hobbled. And now Phil Hoskins just went down, the other one. So that's rough. Quinn Ewers at the rookie premiere to represent the Dolphins. That's a weird one to pick. But it's something. I wish Cam Scatterby would be in Dolphins colors. But at the same time, it looks so natural to see him in the Giants uniform. All right, just coming back from commercial break. Yeah, I wanted Scatterby as well, but I'll take Ollie Gordon. Smith in shotgun, a back to each side. 1st and 10 from the 45. Smith gonna hand this off left side for CJ Marable. Gonna have a little bit of room to get about 3 before being forced out of bounds. So 2nd and 7. Smith alone in shotgun, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, looking to throw. Quick pass, going deep left side, has a man along the sideline. That's Deon Cain. What a toe drag snag down to the plus 28-yard line. That's a beautiful catch by Deon Cain. Oh, wait, did that right foot stay down long enough, though? That's the question. Definitely has the left. When does he get possession? That might be overturned. Nearly a great catch. Yeah, this is going to be reviewed. Yeah, after review, it was going to be an incomplete pass. Nearly a great grab along the sideline, but just quite couldn't get that right foot inbounds for long enough. Couldn't quite keep that right foot down for long enough. So it was 3rd and 7. Yeah, it's a college catch, but it's still damn near a great one. Yeah, most of the times when it's close grabs like that, they're gonna take a look at it, either through expedited review or a long review like that. As now a big 3rd and 7. Smith in shotgun back to his right. 2 receivers to each side. Gonna motion the back out wide to the right. Ball on their own 48-yard line. Need the plus 45. Smith to throw. Battlehawks send pressure. Pass over the middle. Incomplete. Looking for Jalen Camp, but couldn't quite hang it Couldn't quite get his arm left. Couldn't quite hang on to that ball. What a play by Miles Sims to force the ball loose. It's 4th down for the Stallions. Nicely timed blitz, forced the ball out quick. Yeah, it wasn't on time. Little bit overthrown. Too far inside. So out comes the punting unit. It's 4th and 7. With 10.5 to play in the game. And there's going to be a delay of game called on the Stallions there. Yeah, there's 10:28 left in the game. So it's that the Stallions set to send this one down. Punt comes off clean. Going to be fair caught at about the 12-13 yard line by Jacor Pearson. They'll start the next drive from there. But this has been, the score is 22-21, but this has been a defensive game. Both defenses have made multiple plays in order to set their guys up. I mean, the Stallions have forced 3 turnovers. The Battlehawks defense has a pick 6. It's been a defensive showing. Yeah. Honestly, I like it. The edge, I like it, man. I like games like this where it's both a good mix of offense and defense, kind of leaning towards defense. Duggan in shotgun, going to keep it himself right side in the read option, has some room and slides down for 5. And no penalty for the late hit there. It was kind of a late hit on Duggan, but said it wasn't late enough. As it's 2nd and 5. Oh, yeah? Yeah, the Panthers are, I believe, are handling business. Let me check the score for that again. Under 10 minutes now to play. Yeah, it's a 30-12 game between the Panthers and Roughnecks. That's about to end. Duggan throwing right side on 2nd and 5. That's going to be caught at the sticks by Akeem Butler. Enough for a first down. They keep the chains moving. Again, I'd like to see Butler get more action in these final 9.5 minutes. Try and seal the game through him. Because he should be the main target on any play. Yeah, no problem. I don't do the gambling myself, but I do kind of understand what people do and kind of how intense it is to keep up with everything. As handoff up the middle is going to get nothing for Jacob Sailors. I'm constantly checking all the games anyway. Just on my own, even despite not doing all that. I have some time back on the clock. It's 30-12. Yeah, the Panthers have that one. So Duggan in shotgun back to his right. 8:40 to play. Gonna touch past this. Who's gonna then throw it back to Duggan, who then throws it to Sutherland. What weird play design that picks up 2. It was a touch pass flea flicker tight end screen. Trying to get tricky with it on 2nd and 10 leads to a 3rd and 8. Sure. Fuck it. Why not? That's the type of play design where you have Akeem Butler streaking down the field. On top of the tight end screen option. Like that's an interesting play design. I feel like it could have another layer to it. But now 3rd and 8, Duggan in shotgun back to his left. 2 receivers to the right, looking to throw. Stallions send pressure. Duggan deep left side, going for it. Gary Jennings incomplete. Trying to go for it all, and that was Mario Goodrich in coverage, and the Stallions will get the ball back. He had a step. ever so slightly underthrown. And it goes through his arms and incomplete. Now going to send this one down once again. Punt comes off clean, looking to flip the field. Going to be returned beginning from the 22-ish. Makes one man miss. Going to get past the 30 to the 35, 36. 7:16 to play in this game. It's a 1-point St. Louis lead. It's a 1st and goal for Houston with 6 seconds left. They're down by 18. They're going to need a miracle if they're going to come back in this one. Like a legit miracle. But that game seems to be a Michigan win, which means that the USFL Conference Championship game is locked up. It's going to be the Stallions and the Panthers. As Smith will throw it right side, that's caught by Marley Williams for a screen. Gonna find some lanes to run with, gonna find some blocking and some lanes to run for a gain of roughly 10, maybe 11 and a 1st down. The way this league is gonna like really like exponentially grow in popularity is if they lean into gambling and sports books. Because like the casual NFL fan is not going to care about a spring football league. This is for the diehards and the gamblers. Smith throwing left side, caught by Davion Davis, going to get about 3 up to midfield. Like, I'm shocked they haven't partnered with a sports book yet. It would do wonders for the league. If you partner with a sports book, make sure that the games are properly displayed on their respective app. And go from there. Like, it will help the league's popularity. Like, the casual NFL fan, they really only have their team that they might have not even, they're fans of because their parents were, or because they're in that city. Or they follow like 4 players. Smith to throw in 2nd and 7. Has some time rolling left, looking downfield still. Now going to keep it himself and get out of bounds after a gain of 3-ish. It's a 3rd and 4 with under 6 minutes to play. Under 6 minutes to play, a big 3rd down here. Third and 4. I'm kind of shocked ESPN Bet hasn't like properly become a sponsor. Considered ESPN during their broadcast like to talk about the sports books. Play clock winding down, and the Stallions will call their first timeout with 5.5 to play, as they were not going to get the snap off in time. 3rd and 4. For as much as I really like Skip Holtz, the broadcast just mentioned something really good there as well. That like Skip Holtz was so focused on that 2nd down play and it only going for 3 yards when there's a guy open that he took too long to call the play for 3rd and 4 unless they called a timeout. Again, I really like Skip Holtz as a coach. He needs to just like get the plays in and worry about the minor things later. Because you still a positive play. It's still 3rd and short. There's no need to hark on the fact that you got 3 yards instead of 7. Smith alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. A massive 3rd and 4. Play clock winding down. They get the snap off in time. Smith to throw deep left side, has a man, it's caught. K. Johnson breaks a tackle. Touchdown Stallions. They retake the lead. 5:21 to play in the game. Cade Johnson It's a 5-point Stallions lead. What a throw by Jamar Smith. And what a play by Cade Johnson to finish it off. That was beautiful. 3 touchdown passes on the day for Jamar Smith. A great adjustment by Cade Johnson to make sure that ball wasn't underthrown. Ever so slightly slowed down as the ball was coming down. Beautiful. Oh, I do? Shit. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't register when I hit it. But that's fine. A 1-point try to make it a 6-point game from the 2-yard line. Smith in shotgun. A running back to his right, a tight end to his left. Looking to throw, pass, right side, corner, touch. It's conversion try successful. Dion Kane, back corner of the end zone. 5:20 to play. It is a 6-point game. And now St. Louis is going to need the offense more than ever. St. Louis only sent 3 on that 3rd down play. I'm not sure about only sending 3 on 3rd and 4. But that's a good throw from Jamar Smith and an even better play by Cade Johnson. And they have a 6-point lead. What a play. Yeah, St. Louis gonna need a response here. This offense has not scored a touchdown since the 2nd quarter, right? They're gonna need something here. Kickoff underway, going to be returned beginning from inside the 5 at the 3. Has some room on that right side, gets to the 35, maybe the 36. And now comes Max Duggan. 5:16 to play in the game. Gotta have a drive here. You have 3 timeouts remaining. You need points. There's 5:16 remaining in this game. This very well could be the final drive St. Louis has, or it could be the final drive of the game, period, if they play it right. Handoff of the middle to Sailors to begin the drive is going to be some good running and a gain of 9. And I really like how Jacob Sailors runs with the ball in his hands. It's beautiful to watch. Now under 5 minutes. As there's over 30,000 in attendance here in St. Louis. Love to see that. It's a 2nd and 1, and St. Louis is gonna play the clock. They're letting this run a bit here. Duggan in shotgun back to his right, 2 receiving options to each side. 2nd and 1 from the 44. Duggan to throw. Pressure coming, gonna throw it deep, left side, back shoulder, and it's caught inside the 35. Akeem Butler still going, fighting his way. And out of bounds at the +26. That's what I was talking about earlier. If you need to get the pass game going, you rely on Akeem Butler. Beautifully thrown ball. A place where only Butler can come down with it. And uses his body to block out Mario Goodrich. Now under 4.5 to play in this one. And the Battlehawks are in striking distance. Coming up on the 4-minute mark of this game. Duggan in shotgun, back behind him, 2 receiving options to each side. Gonna hand this off to Sailors up the middle. Stiff arming inside the 15, the 10, and brought down at the 6. Jacob Sailors. First and goal, St. Louis. 3:47, 46, 45 to play. Beautiful blocking up front as well. Jacob, Sailors, and Akeem Butler. The two guys they probably needed most on this drive have been the main factor of all three plays so far. Duggan and shotgun back to his left, three receiving options to the right. Give once again to Sailors. He gets through. And they're staying down just short at the half-yard line. Oh, but it's close. We'll see on this review. Initial spot was just short. There is a penalty now on the play. Seems like it'll be on the Stallions. They haven't announced the penalty yet. I'm trying to hear it. It was an after the play personal foul on the Stallions. And since they did not rule this a touchdown for Jacob Sailors, I think his knee touched just ever so just before the touchdown. It's gonna move the ball about 6 inches because this was ruled ball at the 1. So it's gonna be a first and goal. Yeah, that's a clear late hit on the lineman for some reason by Birmingham. Gonna be second and goal, first and goal, I think. No, second and goal from like the inch-yard line because it was not a touchdown. So a little unfortunate if you're St. Louis. Because if that was a touchdown, you'd be able to go for the 3-point try from the 5. Duggan and shotgun? Back to his left, 3 receiving options to the right. Gonna hand off to Sailors. Cuts in. Touchdown, St. Louis. Jacob Sailors did it himself on that drive borderline. And it's a tied game with 3 minutes to play. All tied up at 28. And now the conversion attempt to try and take the lead. I mean, you just go for the 1-point try and give it back to Sailors, right? His jump cuts behind the line are beautiful as well. He's such a solid back. I love watching him. Gonna go for the 1-point try from the 2. Duggan and shotgun back to his right. They gave it to Sailors up the middle, and he's gonna bulldoze his way in. It's a 1-point Battlehawks lead. 3:03 to play in the game. This has been beautiful. I told my cousin I'll leave here by 4:30 at the latest, hopefully. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen now at this point. We still got 3 minutes to play. This is a high scoring affair. I definitely did not expect this, though. I will say that. Beautiful jump cut in the backfield. God, Jacob Sailors is fantastic to watch. And he's fantastic to watch, man. I love it. .303 to play, waiting for St. Louis to send this one down. All right, here is the kickoff. Going to be returned beginning from inside the 5 at about the 3. And that's Dion Kane on the return, going to get up to the 25. This has been... Jacob Sailors has needed a game like this. Again, he's been running well all season, but the past few weeks have kind of just been average performances for him. He's up to 118 yards and a touchdown now on the day. He's running really, really well. 2:58 to play in this one. It's 1 point St. Louis lead. Potentially the final drive for the Stallions. Smith in shotgun back to his left. 2 receivers to each side. Gonna motion the back to his right now. Smith will look to throw. Now gonna keep it himself up the middle, but had to bulldoze Ricky Person to do so. Gains about 4 still. Seemed like a little miscommunication on that QB draw. Yeah, weeks 1 and 2, he showed out like this as well. Week 2 was a great performance for him. He had like a 3 touchdown day, but it's been a while since he's had 100+ yards on a game. He has needed this kind of showing. And to do it against this defense as well, it's impressive. Smith in shotgun back to his right, 2 receivers to each side, will look to throw. And now going to keep it himself up the middle once again. Another QB draw. This one goes for about 7 and a first down. And that will bring us to the 2-minute warning. A 1st and 10, 2 minutes to play. It's a 1-point game from the Dome at America Center here in St. Louis. Man, oh man, this is going to be a good one. 2 minutes to play. All comes down to this. Right into a commercial break. And I will quickly be right back. All right, we're still at commercial break. I am back. And yeah, with the Michigan Panthers getting the win today, it is a lock that the USFL Conference Championship game will be between Birmingham and Michigan. So all that's left is to figure out what the XFL Conference Championship will be. St. Louis needs to win, and they need DC to win tomorrow. And that will set in stone the XFL Conference Championship. You know, we're 2 minutes out. This is a great game. Guys, properly, please. We did it last night for that game in overtime. We're going to stand for the final 2 minutes in this one. There we go. There you go. The final 2 minutes, 1-point game. Not sure. YouTube's just weird like that. It's probably something to do with the tags and whatnot, who knows. We're back from the commercial break. 2 minutes to play. Smith in shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Ball on the 35-yard line. Gonna motion to back out wide to the left as Smith will look to throw. Pressure coming. Avoids it once. Throwing deep. Down the field. Has a man incomplete. And there's the penalty marker. Looking for Jalen Camp. They're gonna call DPI. on St. Louis as Chris Payton-Jones is down still, slow to get up. Jamar Smith just chucked one deep. And he gets there ever so slightly early. Yeah, he gets there early. He grabs the back of the helmet. That's clear. But Chris Payton-Jones laying on the ground, holding his right thigh. Someone banned the reps. I mean that's a clear DPI though, so can't be too upset about it. The good news is that's only a 15-yard penalty because the UFL goes college rules with DPI. And it's also going to force St. Louis to call a timeout due to injury timeout. Yes, Payton-Jones limping off to the sideline there. Able to put a little bit of pressure on that leg, but he's definitely out for the rest of this one. 1st and 10 for the Stallions, a minute 52 to play. Looking for field goal range, which is really anywhere inside the 40. I'll go as far anywhere inside the 43. Yeah, that's a tough loss to this St. Louis secondary. And so ball on about midfield. Smith in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Looking to throw once again. Pass right side is incomplete. Looking for Jalen Camp too far outside. Couldn't catch it through the dive-in effort. 2nd and 10, 1:49 to play. So yeah, Chris Payton-Jones is a tough one to lose, but because of that, it allows you to go zone more and rely on your safeties, which is a really good safety tandem as well. Smith in shotgun back to his right, 3 receivers to the right as well. A handoff up the middle, gonna get stuffed and lose a yard. Nothing going there for... Who was that on the carry? That didn't look like Ricky Person. Was that... Yeah, it was Ricky Person. Okay, I thought it said 29 for a sec. Ball is on their own 49-yard line, just before midfield. Smith to throw in 3rd and 11. Rolling left, thrown over the middle, overthrown and incomplete. Had the man open, would have been enough for the 1st down, but just put too much into it. It's 4th and 11. Ball on Birmingham's own 49-yard line. They're looking for the plus 40 to keep the game alive, as they only have 2 timeouts and a minute 17 to play. I mean, he's been accurate. For the most part, he's been accurate today. Yeah, he's 50% completion, but you can't fully blame that on... There's been quite a few throws that have been drops and quite a few others that have been just bad passes like that one there. As the Stallions have to call their 2nd timeout. They were not going to be able to get the snap off in time. You need the 40. Unless someone is open enough to be able to run the rest of the way, this ball needs to be past the 40-yard line. And because Birmingham has 1 timeout remaining, I would not be shocked if we see them, if they fail this, if we see them try and get a challenge and throw the challenge flag and try to keep the drive and the game alive that way. But it's 4th and 11. Comes down to this. 1:17 to play. Smith alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Gonna look to throw. St. Louis sends 4. It's caught over the middle. Jordan Thomas, 11 yards exactly. They keep it alive. Have to hurry up now. 1st and 10 for the Stallions. What a catch by Jordan Thomas and a good throw by Jamar Smith. Alone in shotgun, 4 receivers to the right. Gonna keep it himself up the middle, but penalty markers fly before the snap. They're ever so close to field goal range with a minute to play. What's the penalty? Gonna be false start on the Stallions. And Skip Holtz is saying himself, need about 5 yards minimum for field goal range. You get inside the 40, you're feeling really good. That's a tough false start there. And yeah, it's the left tackle. It's the left tackle, who's actually the backup right guard. The backup guard, Barry Wesley, called for false start there from the left tackle position, as the Stallions are without both of their left tackles for the rest of this one. 55 seconds now because they decided to take the 10-second runoff instead of using their final timeout. 1st and 15. All right, now 57 seconds. They put 2 more back on the clock. Smith in shotgun. You need 5 yards minimum in the next 57 seconds. In the next 55 seconds, basically. Smith in shotgun, back to his left. 2 receivers to each side. Can't lose yards, but muff the snap. And Jamar Smith breaking tackles will be brought down at the line. Bobbled the snap and luckily gets back to the line. But you have to hurry up. It's 2nd and 15. Clock continues to run. You need 5 yards for field goal range. 33, 32, 31, 30 seconds left. Smith in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Going to hand this off up the middle for Marable. He's going to fumble. Ball's loose. And St. Louis picks it up. That will do it. The Battlehawks defense makes a play late. We'll see what the refs say. It's going to be St. Louis ball, I believe. St. Louis exits the pile with it. The defense makes a play as CJ Marable uncharacteristically fumbles. And with 16 seconds to go, Battlehawks up by 1. They have the ball back. Miles Jones, the backup corner who came in because of the injury to Chris Payton-Jones, is the one who picks up the fumble. And all the Battlehawks need now is a DC win tomorrow to clinch the playoffs. It's Travis Feeney who forces it loose. And the Battlehawks recovered. I mean, yeah, you have to. You have to throw the challenge there. So it's not quite over yet. They're gonna throw the challenge. You have to. The game's on the line. But you have to be absolutely confident in it. And it's close. The question mainly more so becomes, is there an angle to see that? If even is there in the first place. Yep, there is a challenge. Gonna come down to this now. If they win the challenge, Birmingham most likely seals this game, as they're going to be well in the field goal range. Yeah, the Stallions have already clinched. Through Michigan winning, they clinched. And the call is quickly confirmed. They're going to lose the final timeout. That will do it from St. Louis. What a game. Yeah, he didn't get the call. Then what a game. Again, a potential UFL championship preview, as there's the one need now needed from Max Duggan. An absolute incredible game. Incredible game. That's a tough loss for Birmingham. But again, they have already clinched their spot in the USFL Conference Championship with the Panthers win today. They were able to clinch the spot that way. So all St. Louis needs is an Arlington loss tomorrow, and the XFL Conference Championship will be clinched. Speaking of that, I will be live tomorrow at noon for that DC Arlington game. So far, all the games have been great this week in the UFL. Obviously, the Michigan-Houston one was a bit of a blowout, but so far, last night's game was really good. This game was fantastic. We'll see how tomorrow's go. This has been a great time. Appreciate all of you tuning in. One last time, if you are new, subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated before I call it here. Again, I'll be back live tomorrow at noon. I do the same play-by-plays for the NFL season as well. All Dolphin games, all primetime games, a few other games mixed in here and there depending on the time that everything starts at. But yeah, greatly appreciated. And I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. What a game this was. Peace.